Welcome to the Dean Obeidallah Show on Substack Live. And joining today is someone who needs no introduction, our buddy Danielle Moodie, host of Danielle Moodie Show on YouTube, the Fire Pit series on Substack. She has Democracy is Live on. She's got a million things. Do you have podcasts within the podcasts? You have like in the show, there's another show.
There's another show in the show.
Show in the show, like
the show. Yeah.
It's like a Russian nesting doll, a podcast. Like, oh my God,
that's me.
That's
a Russian nesting doll.
It's because I have an immigrant work ethic, and you have a very strong work ethic wherever it comes from your family. I have
immigrant, Jamaican.
Same thing. So Jamaican. So the immigrant work ethic, we're always when I'm not working, I feel like I'm guilty of something. Like, what am I doing? I should be working. This is wrong. That's the world we live in. So good to see you on a day that was going to be challenging anyway, because we were talking more about Minneapolis. We both get up to the news a short time after we wake up that Don Lemon, who we both know. I used to be a regular on Don's Saturday night show for years. Me and Ana Navarro goes on to be really famous.
Yeah.
And I used to be on it all the time. And to see that he was arrested because Donald Trump demanded it and DOJ demanded it was very, very jarring. So just what's your reaction? We could break it down a little bit more after.
Yeah, 100%, Dean. Dean is my second favorite Muslim friend.
You can't rate us.
And I'll tell you that then my other Muslim friends are going to all text and be like, "What the fuck?"
I made the top two. Okay, I'm
right.
happy.
You made the top two. But here's the thing. I woke up this morning because I knew that we were going to be coming on, and Waj and I were going to do our show, and I saw the news, and I was so grateful that I was going to be coming on with you today because we've been talking about this. We've been warning about this since when I was on Sirius. Like, that's how long we've been talking about the escalation of Donald Trump for over 10 years, that it was going to get to the place where he was going to attack journalists, that if he got into power again, if America gave him the keys to the kingdom, to our Constitution, that he was going to rewrite it, that there was going to be no First Amendment. There was going to be and as of the killing of Alex Preddy, he said no one should be walking around with guns. So there goes the Second Amendment as well. And so here's the thing. When I saw the news of Don, I was terrified. I literally texted my family and I was just like, everything that I told you, that I said could possibly happen is happening, right? Like, I kept saying to myself, who is going to be the journalist that he makes an example of, that he tries to use and say, this, if it can happen to Don Lemon, former CNN of 20 some odd years, journalist for 30 years, well known around the country and around the globe, that if he can take him down, what does it mean for people like you and I? What does it mean for the Wajahats of the world, right? What does it mean for everybody else that has a microphone? And so I woke up terrified when I saw the news. I woke up in fear for all of us, because the one thing is, I know, and I can't speak for you, but I know about me, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop telling the truth. I'm not going to stop speaking out, because I realize that it is even more important now, because of the fact that they are trying to make an example of this man, just like they are trying to make an example of the state of Minnesota. If we can attack Minnesota, if we can put tanks in the street, if we can tear gas babies in cars, if we can kidnap and detain and arrest 5-year-olds and put them in prison, if we can shoot a mother in the head, if we can shoot a male nurse, if we can kill all of these people in detention and rape and murder, and you can do nothing about it. And this is what I've been saying. This is why I've called for a national strike. I've called for a rolling national strike. I've said that labor organizations and civil rights organizations and women's groups and LGBTQ organizations need to link arms. Latino organization, immigration organizations. This is no longer about siloed issues. Stop being protective of your turf and your issue and the policy. Oh, I don't do that. I do this. We all do justice right now. That's what we're in the business of, is justice right now. We're all about collective liberation right now. And I need people to move out of their protective zones and recognize that the red alerts are everywhere. The red flags are everywhere. And the agents are everywhere.
I agree. The one thing is, if they do take Wajahat away, I become your number one Muslim friend. So there is an incentive there for me to maybe tip off the authorities. On a much more serious note, we were talking about this, but I was also talking about last year that Once they get done with legacy media taking control, they will go independent media. And while they went to Don Lemon now, do not be surprised if they come after Substack as a platform and DOJ investigates Substack as a platform. Because instead of going one at a time, you got the entire platform. They go after YouTube more. They go after SteamYard, the platforms that we are on. That's where they're going to go next because that's what authoritarian regimes do. It is silencing dissent. That's what this is about. What happened today wasn't about the rule of law. It was about the silencing of dissent, the silencing of journalists. Because, and this is rhetorical. We all know the answer. If a Fox News reporter went in the church to cover the protest, would that Fox News reporter been arrested today? Of course not. It's because it's Don Lemon. He's black. He's gay. He's viewed as a to the base. They love it. They're going crazy on the MAGA people are cheering this wildly. And I really want people to look closely. I don't read into things that aren't there. And I want you to look at it too, Danielle. What the White House posts about Don Lemon being arrested, it says, when Lemons happen, and it goes dot dot dot. And what is there? Not handcuffs, shackles. Shackles from slavery. You would put a handcuff to say he's in handcuffs. When you put shackles, and you'll see they're the chains from the enslaved people. That is by design, by this White House, is a white supremacist movement. MAGA is a white supremacist movement. It's why I'm begging people to go not just abolish ICE, abolish MAGA. Yes, abolish MAGA politically. Other political parties are gone. There used to be a Federalist Party, a Whig Party, a Know Nothing Party. When they lose badly enough, they don't get support and they vanish. We can deal with a Republican Party if it's not MAGA anymore, but we've got to work to end it doesn't coexist with a democratic republic, a pluralist society. Because there's no doubt, Danielle, this movement is a white supremacist movement. It's
Yep.
also intertwined, as Joy Reid,
Yep.
my buddy, was saying today, and she brings up the Christian nationalist part. And sometimes I forget that, but it is also intertwined in the two. So, what do you think is next? What do you think is next? Because I think people should prepare mentally, not to scare people, but to prepare you. Where do you think the Trump regime will go next in their onslaught on dissent and those who will not bend the knee to them?
I mean, well, if we think about where they have been just this week, right? They were in Fulton County yesterday
Mm-hmm.
raiding the election offices there. And I want folks to understand because Joy said this and I was watching you all earlier and it's true and I'm going to echo it. This is not the raid on Fulton is not about 2020. It is about 2026
Mm-hmm.
and every election that comes after that. This is not this raid on Fulton County. This is not about relitigating the 2020 election. It is about rigging the 2026 election. And I've been saying this when people want to ask me stupid questions about primaries and midterms and what I think about it and who I think is going to get back into power. And I'm saying, are you not paying attention? Like there is going to be no midterm election. That's why Pam Bondi said to Governor Walz, oh, we'll leave Minnesota, but you got to do me a favor, though. You need to hand over those voter rolls. You need to hand over. And remember, we had how many cases did Rudy Giuliani get laughed out of court for? Rudy Giuliani is with a collection plate sitting outside on a curb right now because of him touting this lie about the 2020 election being stolen. So it has already been litigated. This isn't about 2020. This is about 2026. This is about 2028. This is about every election moving forward because Donald Trump knows that he is not popular. Every single poll, even on Fox News, they are saying, oh my goodness, I don't know what's happened. He's down on immigration. People were saying that they wanted immigration, but you know what they didn't, Dean? They didn't want to see it. They wanted to hold up the signs for mass deportations, but you know what they didn't want to see? Mothers being shot in the head. White mothers being shot in the head. You know, they wanted black and brown people to be roughed up. Donald Trump said, rough them up, right? But what they didn't want to see, they didn't want to see Alex Preddy being executed on their screens. You see, Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders, Malcolm X and others, they knew how to utilize the media because they knew what people did not want to see. They're okay if
Mm-hmm.
lynchings and murders and shootings are happening. But so long as I don't have to see it, then I get to pretend and go along with my day-to-day life. But once now it's everywhere that I'm streaming, once now that it's everywhere that I look, that I have to sit with the fact that I voted for a man that has a 5-year-old in a jail, that I
Mhm.
have to sit with the fact that another 4-year-old little black girl was murdered in ICE custody, that I have to sit with the fact that an ICE agent just pled guilty to raping a woman for months so that she could see her daughter, that I have to sit with that now, right? They didn't want to see it, and now it's everywhere.
And I wonder though, of the MAGA base, this is the truth. For some of them, this brings them joy. The way they were cheerleading the death of Renee Good, defending and cheerleading the murder of Alex Preddy. In fact, Donald Trump today, the bigger story would have been him calling Alex Preddy an agitator and an insurrectionist in the Post today, because we saw a video from about 10, 11 days before he was shot. And Trump lied about the video, saying the idea that, look how calm the ICE officers were. No, Alex Preddy, he did kick the car. He kicked it on a weird angle where it knocked the light out. The officers came out and beat him to a pulp. They broke his rib.
They broke his rib.
And then and they were never. I'm a lawyer. From a legal point of view, they could have arrested him for damaging government property. They didn't want to arrest him. They let him go. They just want to beat people up. They were out there to terrorize people. That's what it's about. And Danielle, to your point too about on yesterday what happened. I've been screaming this. What they did in Fulton County is not about the past. It's about the future. Understand this. They're not really getting 2020. It's not about the past. It's the future. And for some reason, which I don't fully get, Donald Trump really is worried about losing the House and being impeached. He said it to the Republicans earlier this month as a retreat. He said, if we lose, I'm going to be impeached. And you've been impeached twice. I don't know
And
why
that
it bothers him so much.
and you're I don't that's the thing that I don't understand, and maybe it's the dementia. I
Right.
like, honestly,
Maybe.
like, and I'm not, I don't even say that to be facetious. Like, I'm thinking that maybe it is because he's already a twice impeached president,
Right.
and he's president again. So what is, I guess I'm going to ask you a question on your own show.
Sure. Go ahead.
What is the is it that he doesn't want to be impeached for a third time? Because we already know, like, we say that the Democratic establishment are feckless. I don't even think that if they get back power, if we have an election, if all of these things add up, I don't even think that they would vote to impeach Donald Trump. I don't even think
Right.
that they would go after him in that way. I also don't think that jail is even enough. He's not going to die in prison. So what is his fear right now of losing midterms? Because it's like, you don't care about the rule of law anyway. So what are midterms to you?
The only thing I could see him being concerned about is that there would be investigations. And the big thing he hates is losing control of media narratives, right? So when Democrats impeach, for a short period of time, they do control that media narrative. That's why he hated Epstein so much, also because he's implicated. But he hates things where he loses media narrative. If Democrats get the chairs of the committees, beginning subpoenaing witnesses, and if some of the good ones frame the hearings the right way, it will take media stories away from him. Plus, he'll be investigated for making over $1.4 billion at least last year from the White House in his shakedowns. The New York Times documented. So I think it's more about media narratives, but maybe deep down, he has pissed off so many Republicans. He fears that there might be enough senators to finally vote to convict him and remove him and make him the first president ever removed. I don't think that's the case, but I'm like you,
Yeah.
grappling with what is it? And it's something I think about losing media control. And if he gets another impeachment, his face won't go on, Mount Rushmore that this idiot's dreaming of. The only thing named after Trump should be a prison or a courthouse where the worst criminals are charged in the future.
Like, instead of The Hague, the
Right,
Trump?
exactly. The Trump, and like if you're really bad, that's why in the first time I advocated the Donald J. Trump Act, where you can actually charge a sitting president and remind everybody what a criminal this scumbag has been. And like all of us, we're like, when is the devil going to call Donald Trump home? When is the devil going to go like, you've done more than I ever could imagine? You come on home. I think you know your buddy Jeffrey Epstein, and then go in the billiard room and hang out. Like this, how are we going through this? He's outlived his whole family. None of his siblings are left. Like the devil is keeping him here. And I'm not kidding. I actually think he's sent by the devil. I mean, he's a
Mm,
sociopathic,
mm,
vicious, despicable person who enjoys cruelty. Like it's
I
not like
know.
a side sport. It gives him joy. I can say he's an evil person. And I've never viewed the president of the United States as my enemy, but I view this scumbag as my enemy. I'm from Jersey. That's how I feel. I mean, do you think it's productive to view the president as the enemy like this?
I mean, I do. I honestly do, because I think that if you don't frame it in that way, if you don't use that kind of language, and I think, to your point, honestly, if in 50, 60, 70, 100 years from now, there isn't a Donald J. Trump Act which says and states, I mean, this is all inshallah, right? This is all under the hopes and guise that one day law and order will come back and the people will be victorious. I mean, you and I won't be around to see it. And I say that very matter of factly. I don't think that in our lifetime we are going to be around to see the boomerang of justice, come and rear its head. I mean, there was a survivor of the Tulsa massacre who just died at 103 years old, and she never lived to see long enough to live to see justice, and she lived for over a century. So that just tells you, when white moderates have been telling Black people to wait, that's how long we've waited. Over a century, she waited for justice for Tulsa and never received it. So I'm not going to be a fool and say that I believe that we're going to see the downfall of Donald Trump. But what I will say, to your point, is that if you don't, at some point in the new history of whatever is built after this empire falls, if you don't hold people accountable and hold him up as an example of the antithesis of what it means to be an American, the antithesis of the
Hmm.
Constitution, the antithesis of a president and a leader, then what are you doing? And this, to me, Dean, this was the failure, the initial failure, as history will remember him. This is Joe Biden's failure. And I don't care what people say. People want to love Joe Biden and the ice cream and the bicycle rides and the hugs and oh shucks, mentality. But I'm going to tell you, Joe Biden had 4 years to hold Donald Trump accountable. He had 4 years to make an example of Donald Trump. He had 4 years, right, to get a attorney general in place
Hmm.
that was going to actually preserve our institutions by actually safeguarding our institutions. And that looks like accountability and transparency. So if you're not going to do any of that in 4 years, right? Like, we have to understand that what came back, right after you thought you nicked the snake's tail, what came back was a motherfucking mega cobra on steroids. Right? Like, that's what Donald Trump is now. He tested the fences in 2017 through 2020. He incited an insurrection and he said, and I'm still free.
Yep.
And I'm now even richer now than I was the first time around. So how is it that you teach a lesson by doing nothing?
You can't. But I mean, the silver lining is tonight we can all relax watching the Milani movie. So we can relax by watching that horrible grift. And that's another grift. Look at Amazon paid $40 million, $26 million more than the lowest bid. The next lowest bid was $26 million left. It was all a grift. Everything Trump has done is a grift. But you touch on something that I bring up a lot. I think it's so important. I don't believe Donald Trump knows what it means to be an American. And we're imperfect as a nation, but deep down in all of us from childhood, or if you come here, you learn the history of this country, that we rose up, these plucky colonists with all their other faults, against the king, that you're not going to rule us like a tyrant. We are taught that that is wrong. That's in all of our stories. It's all of our DNAs. And that's why you see what's in Minnesota. That's why you see other people rising up and some sacrificing their lives, because that's who
Yeah.
we are as a people. He
Yeah.
doesn't get that. He thinks we're going to submit to him. We're going to be
I
silent. Everything he
yeah.
does, he works us. He doesn't get everything he does. Look, is there a little fear? I'm not over. I'm not egotistical. I'm down. Like, if you're gone one day, I'm like, Danielle, you want to do a Substack Live? I'm like, oh, she's in prison. I'm like, I'm gone. That's when. But you know,
So I'm the barometer?
I know.
Great.
Like, we're like, there's like people like in different tiers. I'm like, okay,
Right.
that one.
And here, just so we're clear, you will go to jail before me because your
No, you're a black
platform,
woman. You're a guy. No,
I'm here.
Joy Reid goes, you've got to get out. I said to
I'm
Joy,
getting the fuck out.
right? I said to Joy Reid and Michael Steele a year and a half ago, and just later, Emma Michelle, I'm like, if they get you two, I'm gone. But while you're still walking free, I got nothing to worry about. Like, I'm definitely below you two guys, so I'm not
And
worried.
folks, we laugh right now because so that we don't cry. Like, we have to. We laugh right now so that we don't
My
cry.
point is, don't like we. Don't, Trump doesn't. He's not going to break us by arresting Don Lemon. He's going to make us more angry. He's not going to break
Yeah.
us by selling more mass armed secret police into a city. He gets us more angry. In New York, we're waiting for them. New York, they will be outnumbered. 10,000 troops in a city of 8 million. it will not end well for them. That's why they're not coming here now, and they do targeted stuff in New York, but not widespread.
You see how they do the targeted stuff in New York too? You see where they go because some people keep saying this. They're like, they go to the Caribbean areas, they go to the densely African areas, but you know where they don't go? They don't go to Brighton Beach. They don't go to where the white immigrants are. They don't go to where to where the Russians are. They don't go to any of those areas, but where they are is up in Harlem, where they are is up in the Bronx. But the thing about what they're doing in New York, because people post all the time saying that ICE is here, is that after that Canal Street fiasco,
Yes,
right? Like after
go
that, after they came out, and this was last year when they tried to, when they bum rushed Canal Street, and people, there was no planned protest because this is how New Yorkers were.
yeah.
People were walking around Canal Street going, whoa, 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 wait the fuck. And then they followed them. Like in mass, it was like everybody came out of their homes, their buildings, their places of work, and all of a sudden, in an instant, like thousands of people were in the street in New York. So they haven't done that public display because of how people in New York got activated in a moment.
Hmm. And that's why I cannot see them doing the 1,000 or 2,000 troops. What they've done in Minneapolis, and you touch on it, it's a test case. It is the pilot project to see if they can do it. In Chicago, they were doing little areas, but Chicago still isn't this expansive city. Chicagoland itself is very big, right? Minneapolis, it's a little easier. They go after Somalis, it makes the base really happy. And then they see how many black and brown people. But I mean, Danielle, this might be too simplistic because I think I know the answer, but I want to get your reaction. The idea of removing black and brown people is the way to maintain literal white supremacy, isn't it? Because they
Yes.
see the same demographic changes we do,
Yep.
and they realize we're going to lose unless we actually get them out of our country. And that's the motivation. This is a white supremacist movement that we're seeing play out.
And it is. And I want to say this too, because Waj brought it up, and I think you brought it up, and Mark on on Joy's Substack, which was that Minnesota went wrong for them because they really wanted to have a parade of black bodies
Mm.
in shackles, right? They wanted the parade of Somalis. They wanted the parade of immigrants. And if it happened, just so happened that they kill one of them, two of them, then at least it would be red meat for their base, right? Look at us getting rid of these blacks and these browns, right? Minnesota, however, said, oh, hell no. You come for one of us, you come for all of us. So who have you seen in mass in the streets is white folks.
Mhm.
And then it's white people that ICE has killed. And a white gun owner at that, a legal, permitted gun owner, to the point the NRA didn't come out when they shot and killed Philando Castile, a black man and a gun owner who told law enforcement that he had a weapon in his glove box that he was permitted to carry. They shot and killed him. The NRA said nothing. The NRA said nothing when they shot and killed John Crawford, who was standing in a Walmart going to purchase a gun. This is years ago, folks. I'm going back into the early 2000s. NRA said absolutely nothing because the Second Amendment was never about black people having access to weapons. That's why they formed gun acts after the Black Panthers showed up saying that, oh, we're going to exercise our Second Amendment right too. Right? That's when all of a sudden, when Reagan was governor, he said, whoa, 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 we got to pass some gun restriction here because all of a sudden black people got activated and said, okay, we're going to have our Second Amendment. So you have Donald Trump now in a place where his Second Amendment advocates, those that he's been broadcasting to for 10 years, I'm going to protect your guns, they're going to keep it. He's caught out on tape this week saying no one should have a gun at a protest, unless, of
Mhm.
course, you're Kyle Rittenhouse. So now it's like, I thought we were allowed to have guns at protests. I thought that we were allowed. That's our job.
Nope.
And they're saying, no, you have to be the right kind of white. And now white people are like, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. How will they know if I'm the good white or the bad white? Because they're not supposed to kill whites in general.
Right. That's a good point. The good guy with the gun is the white guy, right? That's when they say the good guy with the gun, they don't mean a black guy or a brown guy. They mean a white guy with a gun, right? And they killed one of them. A nurse who cares for our veterans was executed in front of us. And again, today, Donald Trump trying to go back at it to relitigate this, the idea that he's an insurrectionist. And that takes me back to the point after Renee Good's killing and after the killing of Alex, that they will kill you and then they will smear you. They will kill you, they will murder you, and then smear you as a terrorist, which is exactly the Iranian regime. But I want to get, before we run out of time, I want to get your reaction to, I'm not sure what to make of it right now in the Senate because I see some Democrats cheering it. So on some level, I thought Chuck Schumer gave away the leverage by agreeing to 5 bills, so you can't really shut the government down anymore, and holding on to a negotiation for the next 2 weeks on DHS funding. Or do we wait for 2 weeks and see if they actually make a good deal? Which it's not going to be abolish ICE, but that some conditions, some restrictions put on ICE and the federal agents that were like, okay, that was a good move. And underlying all this, that I don't have trust in Chuck Schumer to negotiate anything. That's the problem. If he was a really good negotiator, I'm like, he's got this. I'm like, he's going to sell us out again. But what do you think? I mean,
I mean, I don't trust. I was going to say I don't Shuck. I don't trust Chuck Schumer as far as I can throw him, and no one should. Chuck Schumer is not a negotiator. He is an assimilationist. Chuck Schumer wants to cosplay with Kenty Cloth and and old Negro spirituals. He does nothing and has done nothing for the people of New York, let alone the people of this country as the minority leader in the Senate. The fact of the matter is that like there should be no negotiation. It is, I'm coming for Kristi Noem's head. I'm coming for Bavino's head. I'm coming for the $50,000 cash bag man, Holman's head.
yeah,
You're shutting down your operations. No more building of ICE detention centers until you let us into the current detention centers. All of us, all of elected officials, all clergy, lawyers are allowed to be permitted in there. If these detention centers are on American soil, then they follow the Constitution, which means access for those that are involved. I see none of that in any of Chuck Schumer's supposed negotiations. Right? 32 people died in ICE custody last year. We are not even out of the month of January, and multiple people have died in ICE custody, including children have died in ICE custody. We already know about the rapes that have happened in ICE custody. We know about the sexual assaults thanks to the ACLU telling us about the bursting of men's testicles as they're being beaten in forced sterilization by ICE. Okay? So when we say abolish ICE, this is not a left-wing idea. This is a concentration camp, and they are running these concentration camps on American soil with our money. And so Chuck Schumer is feckless. I don't trust him. He is fucking slimy. He takes money from AIPAC. He takes fucking money from corporations. He doesn't do anything but a motherfucking jig and lip service online. So my whole feeling is he kicked the can down the road for 2 weeks so that it looks like he's doing something while he absolutely does nothing. Restrictions on Nazis is not doing your job. Nazis need to be shut down. They don't need restrictions. So take off your mask or body cameras because that has stopped the killing of Black people, right? All of these cops
mm,
got body cameras. That stops them. No, it doesn't. It just gives you a death in 4K. So I don't trust Chuck Schumer. I don't trust Hakeem Jeffries. I don't trust any establishment Democrats. I think they are worthless. I think they all need to go. I think that we don't even have a Congress right now. I think that they are just in name only, that they gave up their power a long time ago. The small bit of power that you had was holding the purse strings, and you gave up that motherfucking leverage, all to keep the government open. Oh, we need the government running. The government has been ransacked. It was ransacked when you gave that nut job with a fucking chainsaw access to our social security information. It was done when you gave big balls access to our documentation. So don't tell me that, oh, we have to keep the federal government open because the only thing open has been the Treasury, where Donald Trump has ransacked our tax dollars. By the way, he's suing the IRS for $10 billion.
yep,
Where's that money coming from? It's coming from you.
us. Listen, I'm glad we're running out of time, but that lawsuit would have been the story of the day to talk about. And then they dumped the Epstein files in the middle of the day. On the same day they arrest Don Lemon. Which the one thing I will say about Epstein, we're not going to be distracted from it. It is millions of documents. It's going to take time to go through it. Stories are going to come out of it. So we're going to continue to. Well, I promise everyone we will all cover that. But the Donald Trump suing the IRS because someone in 2018 released his tax returns and he wants billions, and he hired the guy who's going to say yes or no if he gets the billions of dollars. We've never had this kind of corruption in our face by our leader. There are people like the leaders of other third world countries going, this guy is good, my friend. This is a very special person. So, all right, before I let you go, Danielle, where can people follow your great work? Because people should all follow Danielle and subscribe to her stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dean, and thank you for having me on today, folks. You are watching this also on the Damn Digest. That is my Substack, the Damn Digest. I keep all of my content free, but if you have the ability to become a paid subscriber, please do consider supporting independent media, especially today, especially understanding that these journalists, because it wasn't just Don Lemon, it was several other independent journalists. What it means to be independent means that if you are arrested, if you are threatened, there is no network that has your back. There is no network and team of lawyers that are going to ensure that you are safe and that you are being cared for. No, we get our money from the people. And right now, people like myself and Dean and Waj and so many others need to put together our own plans, because understanding that if they come for us, those lawyers are going to be paid through our pockets. So, folks, when you say, I don't know what to do, support independent media. We are people powered. My show, Democracy Ish episode, is up right now on my YouTube. My YouTube is also free. All you have to do is subscribe. Hit subscribe, you get everything. But if you have resources, if you have the money, which I know a lot of people do not, do consider becoming a paid subscriber.
I could not agree, and it's great to have you on, my friend. I love you. You're fabulous. You're a firebrand, and you never hold back, and you make us smarter the whole time. So thank you. I look forward to chat with you in the near future. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We appreciate all of you. People came in to see. They come for Danielle. They come at their own peril. Says Jules, exactly. We're going to be with her, so we're at least going to visit you in prison. I mean, I'll give you that.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you. See, that's why you're number two. She
That's
said, oh, we'll at least visit you. Dean will bring me cupcakes.
I will do that. All right. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
You too.